Hello, welcome to the Self Learning Podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start Unit 1. What is urban sociology? And we are continuing our topic approaches to the study of urban sociology. And subtopic is bureaucracy. Most large scale and complex government and industrial organizations in the modern world can be characterized as bureaucratic in structure. Typically, bureaucratic organizations consist of an elaborate network of specialized roles or positions organized into a hierarchical division of labor. Each position has a definite sphere of competence with specified tasks, obligations, and a specified degree of authority or power. The table of organization of bureaucracies defines the scope and limits of their function, and such organizations are usually bound by a written body of rules that governs the behavior of its members. Now let us move to the next point: social institutions. These are the largest and most abstract modes of social organization within the urban community. In the most general sense, social institutions consist of widely accepted patterns of behavior and expectations that evolve or are created as long-term solutions to the recognized needs of a community or society. Such basic institutions as the family or religion are pre-urban in their origins, although their forms and functions may have changed drastically as a result of rapid urbanization. They continue to serve at least some of the recognized needs of modern communities. According to Boskov, major urban social institutions recently have been acquiring a greatly extended radius of influence and control in terms of geography and population, since they tend to be the practical source of both stability and social change in modern urban communities. They are central to our understanding of current urban problems and of the many efforts to solve them. Fourth is the social problem perspective. In one way or another, almost all contemporary social problems have been associated with the process of urbanization. Thus, a diverse set of problems such as those relating to crime, mental illness, broken family life, poor housing, poverty, unemployment, class conflict, racial and ethnic conflict, drug addiction, pollution, and a host of others are often grouped together under the ominous title of the urban crisis. This tendency has been so pronounced in recent times that the temptation often arises to treat such problems as synonymous with the city itself. But to do so is misleading, because the city is much more than a simple compilation of its recognized social problems. To describe cities in terms of their problems is akin to trying to describe human beings in terms of their diseases. Neither it is accurate to suggest that urbanization is the main cause of most contemporary social problems. The relationship between a very broad and general social process such as urbanization and the much more concrete examples of social problems such as just listed is very difficult to observe directly, and the chain of events by which these two levels of social behavior can be said to be even remotely connected is complex and indirect. Nevertheless, the city and the metropolis are the settings in which many social problems have developed or intensified. And to understand these problems in their urban context is important. In these four areas, the sociologist enters into the picture of urbanism with the fundamental, all pervasive question: how can man obtain consent in the city without consensus being involved? The heterogeneity of city life arising from great population density and division of labor allows for the concern of sociology, since it gives rise to a diversity of individual types and collective behavior. Now let us move to the next point: urban sociology and other social sciences. In urban sociology, the focus is on human beings rather than on spatial patterns, on non-material culture rather than on physical objects, on groups rather than on areas, on social institutions rather than on infrastructure, and on social techniques rather than on technology. This also shows that how urban sociology is different from geography, political science, economics, and other subjects. The field of urban studies have been subjected to multidisciplinary research involving all the disciplines mentioned above, besides history, demography, and social anthropology, and of course sociology. Urban sociology is a specialized field which forms a part of urban studies. The urban sociologists of the 1960s and 1970s stressed on interdisciplinary approach and comparisons, accompanied by the debate and discussion about the appropriate objects of analysis and core methodological issues. They mixed political activism with studies on the city and an emphasis on social conflict, power access to and control of resources, and the systems of production, consumption, exchange, and distribution. In doing so, they remained faithful to what have been identified as core sociological issues. If geographers and historians had space and time, the sociologists had structure and culture in the unfolding history of urban studies. Now let us conclude the unit. The urban sociology refers to city or town, which is directly opposite to the village or country. Urban sociology deals with the impact of city life on social actions, social relationship, social institutions, and types of civilization derived from and based on urban mode of living. In the early part of the 20th century, the subject was fighting to gain foothold. In 1925, it got recognition when American Sociological Society devoted an annual meeting to urban sociology. Afterwards, it's developed as an important branch of sociology. The first department of sociology was established in India at the University of Bombay by Professor Patrick Geddes in 1920. He had done substantial work on Indian towns from 1914 to 1924. But the field of urban sociology remained unheard of in Indian universities till 1960s. It is one of the broadest and most eclectic of all sociological fields. Due to its complex nature, it needs to be approached from several directions, such as city and civilization, ecological, social organization, and social problem approaches. It differs from other social sciences because its main focus remains on social structure and culture. Now let us wind up the session, and we have come to the end of the unit. Thank you very much for engaging yourself with the self-learning podcasts.